Hi, good evening.
Hey, how are you? You are Sean Campbell?
I am Sean. Yep.
Well, I'm Mitch Barron from New York City Parks. So sadly not Neve Strauss, but I'm doing my best.
Well, we're glad to have you, Mitch. That's fine. Appreciate you being here. The our board, the co-chairs of the committee will jump on probably pretty close to 6:30 itself, and then there's a few more
Okay.
presenters tonight and members of the committee as well.
Okay.
Nobody can say that the cold weather kept them away because we're all inside. Um, do you have anything? Are you going to share a screen or do any sorcery like
Yes,
that?
I do
Do you want
have a
to
deck
test
prepared.
drive it right now?
I would love to do that, yes. Um, okay, well, that's not what I want.
Hello.
Hi there.
Hello.
I'm Sean from Community Board 14. Nice to see you and thank you for joining us tonight.
Oh, it's my pleasure. Thank you so much for inviting me.
Sure. Our committee co-chairs will be jumping on, 6:30-ish.
Yep.
And Mitch is going to test drive he's going to share his screen in a minute just to make sure that works. Do you have a presentation that you want to share your screen
I do. Yeah, I have a
when your
slide
turn
deck that I
comes?
can.
Okay,
Yeah,
so after Mitch goes, if you want to share yours, we'll check in with both of you.
perfect.
Okay. Do you see
Neighborhood tree
a slide?
planting, and there's a tree
Okay,
being
great.
planted.
Yeah.
Great. And do you see just the slide or do you see the entire presenter screen with the thumbnails at the
Just
bottom?
No, just the slide. It's not taking up the
Okay.
full screen, but it looks
Mm,
just fine.
okay. And
Yep.
seeing me advancing through the slides.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Then I think we're good to go.
Totally gonna work.
Then I will. Yeah. Here's the stop sharing button.
Mitch, I'm excited for your presentation.
I'm excited to hear yours, to hear about
Oh, thanks. Yeah.
you're with the. See? It's the Prospect Park Zoo.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay. So sorry. Okay, there we go. Sorry, my
It,
first time in WebEx, so I was
yeah, I
had
know,
to
and it's not
Same.
it's not user
wild goose
friendly,
chase for
but
the stop
it's
sharing button.
all good. Go ahead, Bill, if you want to share yours.
All right. Where
So
is this?
WebEx is the one that the city gives us for free. And because we're so up against our budget,
Mhm.
tale of woe, community boards have not had a budget increase from their baseline in 20 years. So
Oh, I can relate to that. All right. Let's see. Yeah, our budget has to stay flat every year. All right. I'll try sharing here. Let's see.
yes, but the entire screen with the
Okay. So if I do this, is that
now
better?
you're perfect. Yep.
Okay. All right. I can't see you guys at all. Just FYI. So
Yeah,
I
that
can
happens, I guess. I've only been on this side, so I didn't know that happened, but you advance to the
to the next slide and the next slide.
yep.
Yeah, as long as nobody's making rude gestures or anything that I should know about, it should be fine.
I will sound out warning bells if
Yeah, you
something
can
goes awry.
let me know. Yeah,
Okay. I'm gonna click my video off and mute myself for a minute while I check in and make sure everybody is logging on.
that's great. Thank you so much.
And Bill, if you want to find the stop sharing button too, to take it down when you have a second. Hi, everybody. If we're waiting for the co-chair, should be here any minute. A few board members will be joining us as we go. I see that all presenters are with us. Thank you for being here. And Bill, are you still within earshot?
I'm here.
Great. If you could unshare your screen,
Oh,
and
sorry about
we'll
that.
give it back to you. That's okay.
Well, it says, it looks like it's not shared. I can hit
You
stop
can
sharing. Sorry
see it.
about that.
Mitch, do you have
Yep,
any
got
pro tips having just done it? Oh, there we go.
it. I
Thanks.
got it. Yep, you're very welcome.
Christopher, we had a couple of test drives on the screen sharing. I don't know. Audrey, did you want to try real quickly, or do you have a presentation you're going to put up on the screen, or are you chatting? Can't hear you. That's strange because you are unmuted, but still cannot hear you.
Can you guys hear me now? Yeah,
Yep.
okay. I don't have a presentation. I was just, if people want to see photos and like a video walkthrough of the space, I was going to share that. So
Okay,
I could
then
just,
we'll leave it for when the time comes so that the meeting can start as soon as Mr. Bromson wants to take it away, but
Yeah, I believe our
just so
co-chair
everybody
will.
knows, the meeting is in a second, as soon as I press this button,
okay.
being recorded. So it will live on the CB14 website for future viewing.
Perpetuity. Thank you, District Manager. I believe our co-chair will be joining us shortly, but we're, to respect everybody's time, I'm sorry I was a minute or two late. Could dive in. Welcome to our committee meeting, Community, Environment, Cultural Affairs, and Economic Development, a wonderful, diverse, yet related collection of items that we love to talk through together. So thank you all for being here, and those of you who have agreed to share some really important information with us this evening. So I'm sure you've all seen the agenda, but just in case, we have a presentation on neighborhood tree planting, which we're excited about, an overview of the Prospect Park Zoo programs. We have updates and outreach and community information from Audrey at All-in-One Community Center, and then a nice announcement about Shine the Light in Flatbush from our church Flatbush Community Alliance. So why don't we dive in if everybody's ready? Is Nave with us or the Parks Department?
Mitch
It'll
will
be me from
filling
the.
in.
Oh, Mitch. Okay, great.
Yeah, despite my
Good to
best
see you,
efforts,
yeah.
I am not Neve Strauss, but Neve Strauss is my boss. My name is Mitch Barron. I'm the senior forester with New York City Parks, where I oversee tree planting in the borough of Brooklyn. So when I started with New York City Parks just a few years ago, one of the first places I did extensive field work was in Community Board 14 in Flatbush and Midwood. So I'm excited to be back here and share with you all some of what we've been doing and some of what we're going to do in the future. So I have a deck prepared, so I'm going to share my screen. Okay. And oops. Apologies, I'm still getting the hang of WebEx and my whole screen has disappeared from me.
We can see your presentation.
Okay.
Yeah. And it just
That's good news. The bad news is I can't see anything of the meeting. So I'm going to stop this. Now that's back, and then I'll just try starting from scratch again. Okay. And then let me. Okay. Well, I am ready to go then. So like I said, my name is Mitch Barron. I work with New York City Parks tree planting, and I'm here to talk about our neighborhood tree planting program, which is kind of our new approach to tree planting citywide that New York City Parks is going to be debuting in 2027, so in about a year from now. But first, to contextualize the work we do, so in New York City, the Parks Department is responsible for about half of the trees in New York City. Of those those half of the trees, the vast majority, numerically speaking, are in the forests in our parks like Prospect Park here in Brooklyn, or Van Cortlandt Park in the Bronx, and the Greenbelt in Staten Island. I don't really deal with those. What I deal with is these street trees, the 666,134 street trees that line the streets of the 5 boroughs. And then there's also another about 156,000 inside parks that New York City Parks manages. I specifically work with planting new street trees. So to show you what we've been doing over the past 4 years, we've planted just under 20,000 new trees in Brooklyn. About 17,000 of those we planted on streets across Brooklyn, another 2,000 in parks, and then specifically 1,233 of those trees are planted within Community Board 14 in parks and on streets. And then you can see the table there that shows the breakdown across the 18 community boards in Brooklyn. The question you might ask is, how do we decide where we plant these trees? Or actually, first, here's a quick map of how those 2,000 trees are distributed across the borough. But to answer the question, how do we decide where to plant these trees? In the past, we had a variety of mandates that we would follow. So a big one was service requests from the public submitted to us via 311. That was one big bucket of obligations that we had for deciding where to plant trees. We also did targeted plantings in pursuit of environmental justice based on a statistic called heat vulnerability index. So the trees that experience, or excuse me, the neighborhoods that experience the impacts of heat the most strongly, we make sure that we do targeted tree planting in those neighborhoods. We also received capital allocations from City Council to plant trees according to their specific priorities within their district. We also had this kind of other, bucket of bureaucratic obligations related to things like replacement for interagency projects, for zoning requirements, stuff like that. So we had this really range of different commitments and obligations that we were trying to meet through our tree planting. This came with some issues. It was inefficient. Our, energies and funds were being distributed in many different directions. And, in particular, the biggest issue is that we just had way too many service requests for us to respond to in a timely manner. I think when this presentation was prepared, we had a backlog of about 42,000 service requests, and that meant that it could take us up to 3 years or more in order to respond to those service requests by planting a tree, or sometimes by telling you we can't even plant a tree here, so you're just waiting 3 years to get no for an answer. So the reality was we were offering this important and essential public service, but because we were being pulled in so many different directions with so many different priorities, we were not able to deliver on it with any consistency or with any predictability. And anyone who has in the past submitted a 311 request to have a tree planted, probably knows what I'm talking about. That you got a message back saying that we'll respond to your request in something like 1,500 days. So we wanted to do better than that, and so we workshopped, brainstormed, and came up with this new approach that we're calling neighborhood tree planting. The intent of this is that we will visit discrete geographic areas. So that might be a neighborhood, it might be a portion of a neighborhood, it might be a group of neighborhoods in one part of the city. We will plant every tree that is possible for us to plant in that area, and then we'll move on to the next area. And each year we'll be doing this in about a handful of areas throughout the city. And it's structured such that we'll visit the entire city over the course of 9 years. In the process, we will also be performing kind of related streetscape improvements. So any dead or dying trees that need to be removed, we'll take care of that when we're visiting the neighborhood. Any stumps that need to be removed, we'll remove them when they're in the neighborhood. If there's tree beds that are empty and we can't replant, whether because there's a conflict with utilities, whether it's because it's too close to a driveway and would obstruct the view of pedestrians and cars, we will replace those with concrete in most cases. And so the idea is, by getting rid of being all these different priorities and commitments and just focusing on one structured kind of systematic approach across the city, this will allow us to serve the city in a way that is comprehensive, that's efficient. And in terms of the design of where we go, it will also prioritize equity in terms of still serving the areas with highest heat vulnerability index first. This does require us, and this is sort of the big news, is that we are no longer taking 311 service requests for new tree planting, just because in order to make sure that we can focus all of our efforts and funding and energies on this new systematic approach. But any location that is suitable for a tree will receive a tree when we visit it through this program. So, eventually that spot you have in mind will receive a tree. So to visualize what that looks like a little bit, in the past, this particular streetscape, which as you can see has a handful of trees, some large, some small. It has a stump, it has a couple empty tree beds, it has one small dead tree. We may have received a 311 request to replace this dead tree with a new tree. And so we do that. And then we'd leave this block and there would still be an empty tree bed, a stump, potentially new spots to plant trees that we ignored. Under this new strategy, when we're visiting this block, in addition to replacing that dead tree with a new tree, we'll also remove the stump, replace it with the tree. The empty tree bed, it was too close to the driveway for us to replant, so we'll replace that with concrete so as to kind of not leave the eyesore on the sidewalk. There's an opportunity to plant a new tree and create a totally brand new tree bed. But also we recognize the value that these porous surfaces provide in terms of the ecological benefits. Often community members will steward these with small gardens. And so in that case, as you can see with the tree bed closest to the intersection here, in that case, we would leave that one open as it's stewarded. So to give you an idea of where we're going right now, it's taking us some time to kind of transition to this kind of new approach to tree planting. So we're in what we're called appropriately the transition phase, which is began kind of midway through 2024 and is ending at the end of this calendar year. So we're still working with the contracts that were already kind of active or in the pipeline for us. We're figuring out some of the finer details we need to really execute this. The council members who have given us allocations to work in their district, we are still honoring those. And we're still building up capacity for some of these kind of new aspects of the program, like large-scale stump removals, large-scale tree bed closures. So we're doing some of those, but we're still kind of building up our capacity before we get to the full implementation of the program in 2027. And I know this map might be a little too small for you to kind of see in a lot of detail, but the different colors kind of tell us which different phase of the program we'll be visiting different parts of the city. So part of how these cycles are designed is that it's 9 total years for us to visit every single block in the city. We have that divided into 3 phases of 3 years. So the first cycle, 2027, 2028, 2029, and then so on and so forth for the next 2 sets of 3 years. Within each set of 3 years, we will be servicing about a third of each community board. So sometime between 2027 and 2029, we will visit about a third of Community Board 14. And during that time, plant a tree in every available location. Any trees or stumps that need to be removed, we'll take care of that. Any empty tree beds that are not being stewarded and that we can't replant for whatever reason, we will replace with concrete. So a lot of steps for us to get there. I'm sorry, I know all these maps are probably too small for you to see. All this information's on our website. So you can follow up and make sure that the links are available so you can look at these as much as you please, find out what year your address is scheduled for planting, so on and so forth. So this is sort of the kind of roadmap, how we got there. So we engaged with these various different stakeholders to get their feedback and incorporate that into the overall design of the program. We distributed press releases. We updated the information on our website to reflect this new approach. The big one, we stopped taking new 311 requests, and all existing requests with us, we closed out with the information that we would visit that location when either the transition phase or the kind of full 9-year cycle brought us to that location. And then in about a year from now, in spring 2027, we will start this full implementation of our new approach to tree planting. So that is all I have. I'm happy to take any questions. And also if there's any other more detailed questions, I'm also happy to, you can always feel free to ask the community board. They can reach out to me and I can provide kind of a longer written response. So thank you, everybody.
Great. Thanks, Mitch. We have one question off the bat from Liz.
Okay.
Dennis, board member.
Hi, thanks so much for this presentation. I'm really excited about this program in a general sense and making sure that the higher heat value index places are dealt with first to bring more equity to the city. One question I have is surrounding, you're talking about the ones where it's not feasible to plant something because of visibility or so forth. Totally understand that concern. Would say that I'm curious if there's a way to avoid more concrete though. I know that increases flooding in a lot of places. That's a concern in our district that we hear in many different spots. But I guess 2 questions on this. One, is there any if there's not, I guess part of it is I think that a lot of people I've heard from who've requested trees or so forth, maybe haven't decided to try to take up community planting on their own. So, because of the current system, there's not a clear path to making it clearly a community stewarded space, if that makes sense. And so I was wondering, one, if there's any possible way to do FYI, this is scheduled for demolition or something. Would this like to be a community space here, or community stewarded space? How can we, reach out to that? Because I think a lot of blocks would take that up. But also, if there isn't the possibility of that, I was wondering if there's any more permeable options, or if parks can plant smaller shrubs or something, or even just covering it with a permeable paving situation or just over the dirt. Just curious what those options are. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. So to respond to the first part of the question, so another advantage that comes with this kind of more systematic targeted approach to planting is that we can say with reasonable certainty, this is exactly where we're going to be in this year, even, this part of this year. And so as part of that, our communications team will reach out to various stakeholders in those communities, such as the community board, Parks Friends groups, kind of other neighborhood organizations that might be interested in stewarding or just kind of otherwise taking care of these tree beds that for whatever reason we're unable to plant. And we definitely hear this, the second kind of part of the question regarding the kind of the fact that putting more concrete in the streetscape is at tension with our kind of overall mission of kind of providing ecological environmental benefits to the city. There's kind of been various proposals and challenges that have come with that. In trying to figure out how to respond to that, we have, considered, the proposal of planting small shrubs or other small planters. That I think is something that we would like, if possible, to pursue in the future. But as it is right now, we don't have the kind of maintenance structures built up to make sure that those are taken care of in the long term. So at least, kind of in the early phases of this, it's not something that's valid for us to, or that is viable for us to do. And regarding, permeable pavers, we are considering, the other options, other ways to restore it. Part of the reality is concrete is cheapest. And so it helps us really do this at scale. And yeah, as much as we as environmentalists as ecologists would like to not see more concrete in the city. It also is, it's also the reality that these unplantable tree beds, they often are simply an eyesore, especially if nobody's taking care of them. And so, in the end, we did find this, however, we end up restoring them to be kind of the most suitable way to, meet our mandate of serving the public. So.
Yeah, just can I just I really do like hearing that you're going to reach out to community stakeholders and through like neighborhood associations, park friends, et cetera, community boards, I'm sure. I would also just urge that, it's if there is a spot just to like put something there, like a little flyer or something, what's happening here, because I think that is really like it's there's only so many resources community boards have. Not every neighborhood necessarily has these community groups and so forth, or block associations. And in fact, block associations tend to be more resource parts of neighborhoods. So I just want to make sure that, under, places that don't have as many connections still have the opportunity to community steward. Because I know lots of people would love to garden and don't have the space for it in New York, and getting a whole block together to do, one small planter is very bed is very feasible for a lot of people, and I would just hate for them to miss that opportunity if that's possible. Thanks. Sorry to butt in with the follow up. Thanks for letting me do that.
No, appreciate it.
Thanks, Liz. No, they were
Elizabeth.
both really great questions. I know, Deborah, your hand was up, and then I'm not sure if it still is.
My question was, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for the presentation. And I just wanted to know, is this part of the Green Thumb initiative that they had before, or this is something completely new?
Green Thumb is a program at New York City Parks that supports neighborhood community gardens. Turning vacant lots in other locations into kind of community stewarded gardens, growing, vegetables, flowers, etc. This is separate. This is tree planting, typically in sidewalks and within public parkland, in land owned by the city. So I work in the same office as some of the Green Thumb people, but we're kind of focused on kind of separate work in our day to day.
Okay, thanks.
Sean, to you in a second, but first, Aaliyah had put in the chat a curiosity around being able to prioritize the asthma alleys that have been identified in the city for priority planting. Was that part of the consideration at all?
The heat vulnerability index metric, which was developed by the Department of Health and Mental Hygiene, incorporates not just things like radiant temperature measurements, but it also takes into account health outcomes in the neighborhood, such as asthma rates or definitely like asthma rates or childhood hospitalization rates. Kind of by proxy through heat vulnerability index, factors like the asthma alleys are incorporated into this kind of plan for where we're going to tackle.
Great, thank you. Right, District Manager.
Thank you. I kind of want to first just double down on Liz's point about the filling in of tree pits. If you're going to pour concrete in our areas that have chronic flooding, it might be easier on your budget, but the city will end up paying for it in a claim, and property owners will end up paying for it through insurance. So let's continue that conversation. We see how much time we have. We know where DEP is putting permeable pavement. There is some overlap there. And in addition to that, maybe exploring where bioswales can be coordinated with tree plantings as we go. And that northern part of the district that's in phase 1 is a chronic flooding location. So, and then my question about the timing, the phase 1, I'm sort of excited to see the third and a third and a third of each district being in phase 1 and then 2 and 3 accordingly. But does that mean that in spring of 2027, all phase 1 districts will be addressed simultaneously, or you'll go from one to the other? Will we know the order of operations, so we kind of know within what part of phase 1 our community will be seeing you?
Yeah, thanks for that comment. And speaking less on behalf of New York City Parks and more just like as a citizen, I would like to see us kind of be better coordinating with the entities like DEP who are working with stormwater reduction and perhaps looking at opportunities to convert these unplantable tree beds into whether that's a traditional bioswale or an infiltration basin. So I think there is kind of room for improving that strategy there. Speaking back for New York City parks regarding the phases. So phase 1 is spring 2027 all the way through the fall of 2029. So within those 3 years, we will visit every area across the city that's marked as phase 1. About a sixth of those simultaneously in spring 27, another sixth of those simultaneously fall 27, so on and so forth. And the maps on the New York City Parks website go into much more granular detail, at least about the specific year that each kind of polygon throughout the city is planned for. I think like the specific season is going to depend on a lot of kind of factors that we won't know until we kind of get into the operational weeds. But the specific year that each location is planned for is on the parks website.
Thanks, Mitch.
Great. Mitch, thank you. And thank you everybody for your questions. In the interest of time, we're going to move on shortly. I just want to name that Brianna asked if there were ways to volunteer. So Mitch, if you know of any off the top of your head, maybe throw them in the chat. And Brianna, if not, I'm sure you can reach out to the community board office and we'll be able to connect you to some fun volunteer resources in the neighborhood. All right.
Yeah,
Thanks
thank you
again,
everyone
Mitch.
for
We
having
really
me.
appreciate it. All right. So Bill, on to you. Let's hear a little bit about the zoo.
Yeah, thank you so much, Christopher. I will first. I'm going to call out my colleague Christopher, who I think is here as well. He's with our Office of Government Affairs with WCS. Chris, you don't have to put your camera on, but just so people know he's here. If there are questions beyond my scope, he might be able to answer them. I'm going to go ahead.
Thank you. Yes. You
got it, man. I do want to thank everyone for inviting Prospect Park Zoo to come chat with you all. I'm going to go ahead and try to share my screen here. And let me see if this will work. All right, and you guys see this presentation?
Looks good.
Yes.
Yeah?
Yep.
Right. I can't see any of you, so if you're answering emails or on the phone or something like that, that's fine. I won't take it personally because I can't see. So my name is Bill Elliston. I'm the curator of education at Prospect Park Zoo. I've been here in the community since 2001, and at the Prospect Park Zoo specifically for the last 11 years. I'm just going to throw this up because I know that sometimes I'm out talking with people and they don't even know that we have a zoo in Brooklyn. So for anyone who doesn't know where Prospect Park Zoo is, it's on Flatbush Avenue. Part of the park and across from the Botanic Gardens. And if you haven't visited, it's a very cool layout where it's kind of a spoke and hub system where the sea lion court or sea lion habitat is in the center, and there are Discovery Trail and different buildings moving out beyond that. I have a picture of the 8 of us who are in the education department here in the center, and some of the amazing animals that we have. We have everything from palace cats to red pandas and dingoes and otters and things like that. We run paid and unpaid programs throughout the year. And this last year, coming back from the flood in 2023, which took us about a year to recover from, we saw about 10,000 school children in direct programming. So when I say direct programming, I mean like tours and classroom programs and things like that. I'm just going to back up one step just so everyone understands the context that Prospect Park Zoo lives in. We are part of the Wildlife Conservation Society. So we have zoos and an aquarium here in New York, right? The Bronx Zoo, Central Park Zoo, Aquarium, Prospect Park Zoo, and Queens. And we work together as a whole team across all 5 facilities to meet these key objectives. We have a research and evaluation team. We work with a youth development team. We work in collaboration both internally and externally. And we try to make sure that our visitors understand the work that we're doing here in New York City is connected with the work that we're doing globally in 55 countries around the world. Our core audiences, right, are probably not surprising for anyone who knows anything about nonprofit education things. We work with schools, Our youth, we categorize as anyone between 14 to 24. We have children and family programs, and of course, our general visitors to the zoo and any of the aquariums. For schools, we do a number of programs. We have classroom programs where field trips will come into a classroom with one of our educators, and they'll meet some animals. They'll do some hands-on science learning, and then we'll take them out into the zoo to visit exhibits and give them some engaging information around that. We have tours, scavenger hunts, family and community days where a school might set aside a Saturday to come all as one collective community. We've seen 117 schools this last year attend field trips at the Prospect Park Zoo. Of those, 101 were public schools, and 82 of them are high need schools. Last year, we did 370 different classes at the zoo, and of those, 272 were Title I schools. In addition to working with schools and school children directly, we have partnerships and professional development opportunities. So we have a professional development team that's based out of the Bronx Zoo, but operates at all 5 facilities. Those have CTLE credits. They run some of our partnerships. We have a connection with University of Miami where you can receive a master's through that program. And so that is running at all 5 facilities. And then Prospect Park Zoo specifically has a number of partnerships, locally. We work with the Caton School, PS 249, and the Maple Street School. And we've more recently developed a partnership with the Parkside Development Center through Catholic Charities. And I'm just going to highlight for a quick second here while you can see these super cute kids working here. We have a program called STEM Starters, which we just won an award for this summer. It is focusing on pre-K learning and pre-K STEM education, where the partner school, Parkside, comes to the zoo multiple times, and our educators go to the school multiple times. We have multiple professional development opportunities for the teachers in those schools. We have a culminating family day for that community, and then we also have STEM starter kits that we provide to the classrooms that are partnered with us. And I'm just going to put a pin in that because I'll come back to that a little bit later. But that's a really exciting partnership that we have currently. Going from our youngest audience to our older audience, we have something called the Career Lattice. In 2018, the education department realized that we had over 600 youth, right, between 14 and 24 that we were working with in various ways. We decided we had an opportunity to work across departments. So this is, again, WCS at large, not just Prospect Park Zoo, but the entire system is currently serving over 1,900 youth between 14 and 24. They're coming from over 319 schools in New York City, and 16 out of 18 of the CUNY colleges are coming with students who are doing internships and things like that. And all the internships that we have at WCS and Prospect Park Zoo are paid internships, thanks to various corporate, city, and private funders. So I just wanted to set that stage on the larger scale. And again, I'll focus back in on Prospect Park Zoo, where in this last year, we had 11 interns from the education group, or 11, seasonal employees working in education. We had 11 business service employees. Those are seasonal, so working in the summer or in the spring and the fall. We have a number of internships through the education department, the animal department, business services, and we have 90 teen discovery guides. So those are coming from all around Brooklyn, coming in to help engage our visitors and make sure that they really understand what the mission of WCS and the Prospect Park Zoo is. I have this spotlight on Allison Lamb. You can see that she's gone through a couple of different stages where she was first a discovery guide, which is an unpaid volunteer, and then she was a leader, which is an internship position. And then this last fall, she was with us as a CUNY intern, which is, again, another paid position. When we were working on, or as we worked on the career lattice, we realized we had an opportunity potentially to work with other organizations kind of in our, with similar missions. So we started what's called the PSI Network. That is a coalition of these 8 different companies. And we work with them to create career pathways and training and a community of support. And we've served 1,141 interns were hosted across these partner organizations in 2025 to a tune of almost $2.5 million in stipends and wages. Again, I'll focus back in on Prospect Park Zoo and Brooklyn specifically. So Lucinda and Christine Peralta are 2 examples of people who have gone through the PSI Network. It's a great way that we can connect and give an opportunity for these younger folks to move from one position to another and be tracked within these different partner organizations and give them support for their career trajectory, right? So we really are launching careers. I'll just talk about Christine for a second because she's my manager of education. So she directly reports to me, and she started at the Queens Botanic Gardens and then moved to the Museum of Natural History and was at the Brooklyn Botanic Gardens, which is great because they're across the street and she has great connections there. She was at the Queens Zoo, right? Again, part of the WCS community, and then got her degree, her master's degree, through the Advanced Inquiry Program, which I talked about briefly with the PD component, and is now currently, I think, her 3rd year into the manager of Prospect Park Zoo. So the Career Lattice and the PSI Network are 2 like linchpins of how we're supporting and moving youth through, whether they're working in education or business services or security or animal department or whatever it is, kind of through these different places. So we're very excited about that, and I wanted to share those things with you specifically. Of course, we also have children and family programs, right? This is not shocking. We have camps, we have school break camps. So if school's out of session, we are probably at work, taking advantage of the time that kids are out of school to support their STEM learning at the zoo. We have birthday parties and family and children programs. And I just want to highlight the camps and birthday parties specifically because these are areas where we can create meaningful moments that spark curiosity and really inspire participants in STEM education and the WCS mission in ways that it might not be on the forefront of their minds. We also have we are building community engagement. So we work with the Prospect Park Alliance a lot because we're right there. We also have an ongoing relationship with the Maple Street Community Garden and the Brooklyn Public Library. Lastly, our other main group of audience is zoo visitors. So we have a number of different experiences throughout the zoo if you come as a visitor. The first one I'll highlight is quests. Those are run by those younger discovery guides, so kind of 14 to 18-ish. There are different activity stations that allow people to practice techniques used by scientists. They explore the lives of animals, and they learn how they can help save wildlife through various interactive and scientific investigations. We have exhibit interpretation, so generally run by staff members. We do narration for sea lion training sessions. So every time you come to the zoo, we have to feed our sea lions, and we do that in public a couple of times a day. And we have people who are interpreting what that is, right? We call it narration, but really what it is a way to let people know what are the zookeepers doing? Why are they asking for certain behaviors? What's the benefit to that? How can people make choices that will, say, keep plastic bags out of the storm drains, right? And going out into the ocean. We also have theatrical performances where you can see a picture of some of our staff there are doing some songs and these puppets and things like that to engage our visitors. And then we also have roaming and subject-specific engagement where we may have some kind of pop-up activities that don't require a cart or a setup for kind of a theatrical performance. And just so you have an idea of the kind of engagement that we have, this last year we had 90 teens and 32 adult volunteers contributing over 1,100 hours, and that contributed to 166,506 different interactions. Those are individual interactions throughout the year with guests. So what's next for us? We are trying to expand our school partnerships. We are expanding our pre-K science learning. Again, I'll reference that STEM Matters course. So what we're trying to do in this next year is pull out some of the really exciting and meaningful components of the STEM Starters program so that more schools can engage with that. So you might not need to have the entire suite of activities that we do, but we know that we have a handful of really engaging STEM supporting experiences that we can go into schools with, which is especially important for like pre-K, because it's hard to get pre-K on a bus and come to the zoo. So we're looking for ways to connect more schools in our borough with that. And then we're expanding community connections. We're doing our best to be thoughtful and slow about this. We want to make sure that we have lasting community connections with different organizations that aren't kind of a one-off thing, but that we can really build on and make sure that our greater community can access all the resources that we have at PPZ and WCS. So that's my spiel. I'll go ahead and stop sharing here, and happy to answer any questions you have.
Thanks so much, Bill and Christopher, for throwing things in the chat. That's really exciting to hear about all the wonderful stuff that's happening at the zoo. I often walk by with my dog, and he is constantly trying to get into the zoo. So I knew something exciting was. It's really nice to hear about all that.
Yeah, we have free roaming peacocks. So if you want to come see some peacocks up close.
Thank you.
And thank you, Chris. I appreciate it.
Yeah. Any questions for Bill? Yep. All right. Sean, you jumped up. There you go.
Just thanks. Yeah, I just want to, the zoo has been a part of our youth conference in many past years, and I'm trusting that you will be again, and we'll make sure that the invitation goes directly to both of you, Bill and Chris, so that we'll see you on March 11th at the Flatbush YMCA for the older young people that you serve.
Thank you so much, Sean. We have it on my calendar, and I was just talking to our coordinator of volunteers. She will be there, and she's ready to go.
It's going to be so fun. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Great. Well, thank you both so much.
Absolutely.
Good. All right. Great. All right, Audrey, are you ready? All in one community center. Lots of fun updates to share and interesting things. So dive in.
Yes. So, first of all, can everyone hear me now?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, good. So I just wanted to come here and discuss with you all and present sort of a project that's been in the works for the last, I would say, 4 or 5 years. There's a church that's on the corner of Foster and 23rd Street that was initially at risk of being demolished. It's the Flatbush Presbyterian, formerly the Flatbush Presbyterian Church. A couple of years ago, the developer, I guess, decided not to demolish the property and instead wanted to convert it into something for community use. And so we started to work with him back in 2022 to convert it into a community center and a cultural arts center that is tailored to fit the CB14 and the Flatbush community. So how we did that was several years ago, we did initial community outreach. We did a survey that had about 200 or so participants, and we asked what was like the gaps in infrastructure, what resources did the community need, what was like helpful, what was really supportive to have in a community center and a cultural center of the nature that we were trying to build. Fast forward to now, we are finally in our last stretch, I hope, of construction. This old abandoned church that was formerly almost completely defunct, had old systems that needed complete upgrading, has been completely revitalized and restored, and now we are getting ready to open at some point in 2026. The goal of the next couple of months is really to re-engage with the community and also the orgs and potential partners in the area. Again, we did our initial outreach a couple of years ago. A lot has shifted, political landscapes, it's a long span of time. So what we're working on now is to relaunch that community outreach effort and bring people into the space and start doing these like open houses and tours of the center. In a second, I'll go through exactly what's been built, and mind you, what was built in the church was curated to fit what the surveys kind of output. So whatever feedback we got about, hey, we need these facilities, we want these resources, these are the programs we are interested in. We tried to install that into the renovated church, into the community center, exactly as exactly as we could. So I'll go through exactly what amenities and facilities we offer and what we'll be opening with. But as a broader sort of announcement, where we're starting to do these open house tours every Friday. At the end of this, I'll drop a link to a Calendly so anyone can book a time to tour. We really want to just use this as a time for people to come by, see the space, see what resources and facilities we have, give more feedback, and then also talk about what kind of programs and projects the community wants to see and work on, and especially now updated in 2026. And so how our center can be geared and our programming can be tailored to fit that from launch and onwards. So I'll get into that second. I'll just show you guys some quick photos of the space and what it looks like now. Let me see if I can share. Yes. Allow. Okay. I'm successfully sharing, but now this needs to go away so I can. Okay, so this is what it's looking like right now. This is the main nave space. I'll go through exactly what space can be used for what in a second. I have a deck to go through that. But just so you get a sense of where construction is up to, how the space looks, how large it is. It's about 30,000 square feet. These are artist studios, another event space, a commercial kitchen. So it's a big, big, beautiful, grandiose building that the real purpose, again, is to provide resources and services to the immediate local community so that projects and creative works and workforce development can happen side by side, and community members can work alongside each other, develop their projects, and really just sort of cultivate what they want to see in their community together. So specifically, let me pull up this deck now. Play this. So going through just what services and facilities we have now, we have space for social services as well as wellness programming. A lot of the feedback we got from the local community was that there were certain supportive services that were needed. Like I think that especially with our block specifically, there's still issues there's gang violence, there's food insecurity. There's a large group of people who said they just wanted kind of basic recreational activities and wellness activities such as yoga, meditation. So we have space for that. We have flexible retail and office space for those who just want to develop their projects affordably and alongside each other. We have a commercial grade kitchen, which will be used to host a restaurant, but also will be used to distribute food and do a food distribution in a commissary kitchen once a week. We have recording studios for local musicians, a digital media studio, performing arts space in this big nave space you'll see here. and then private event space in the basement, as well as artist studios and additional office spaces. So specifically with their performing art space, it's in the large nave space with 100-foot high ceilings and restored wood. It's about 3,000 square feet. It can hold around 320 people standing and 214 people seated. We've already engaged with a lot of local organizations, but we are kind of on the lookout for new partners and smaller arts groups that want to host their open mic or host their dance or do rehearsals or perform theater in this space. This is kind of an additional resource that is in the community's hands to come and incubate things, trial things, perform, do a run of show. We're very open to whatever kind of to the new types of programming that are coming out locally and that want to be shared. In addition, we have an event space directly beneath that performing arts space. This is an older photo. This is actually not what it's going to look like. We've been collecting feedback on the final design, but gives you a general gist of the size of the space. Again, for like banquets, if someone has a wedding ceremony or a reception, if someone wants to have a birthday party, this is an area that is available for use. We also want this to kind of be used as possibly a black box theater or during the day if there's additional programs that nonprofits and other groups want to host and that aren't larger events. We're very open to that as well. We have a commercial grade kitchen. I'm not going to go through all of the equipment list here, but it's about 500 square feet and it's pretty flexible in the use and is also designed to support the food distribution, the food pantry days we want to have once a week. Always open to doing different workshops and programs and trainings if there are any local organizations that specialize in hospitality, F&B, and training programs that are in those areas and in those domains. We have a lot of flexible programming space for orgs that want to do weekly classes, lectures, workshops. We're specifically looking for organizations that have a focus on the arts or social impact, so nonprofits or groups that are trying to kind of refine a craft to present. We have space for both doing the sort of incubation and the rehearsal as well as presenting that for performances. And then lastly, we have our studio and office space. So on the second floor of the church, there's going to be 10 artist studios that can also be flexibly used as a gallery. Again, looking for individual artists or collectives of artists who want to rent these spaces, activate them, start to really hone in on their works in some of these beautiful spaces that we've created. So I think that's a pretty good summary. We don't have, let me close this out and stop sharing. How do I stop sharing? I just say no.
I think you did stop sharing. I'm like, okay, yeah.
Oh no. Did you see any of the deck that I
Yes, you got through
presented?
most of it. It was like
Okay.
kind of maybe the last 3 minutes were without.
Oh shoot. Okay, I don't know how that
It
happened.
looks super cool though, what you did share.
Okay, great. Well, there's that.
I
Anyway,
also
so
looked at your
that's
website, which runs through kind of what you were running also. So I
right,
think that's a
right.
good place for people to go to see more.
Yeah. Okay, great. So that's really what we're about. We're trying to do relaunching our community outreach initiative, having people come by, give feedback, talk about how we can tailor our programs and our initial offering to launch this center. And then of course, looking for community members, partners, groups, anyone working on a project who think they could utilize the space and use the resources and collaboratively develop programming and different presentations together.
That's
So come
really
by. I will drop a Calendly link in the chat, our website. You can contact us on the website too. Everything's there. Hopefully it'll open spring, summer, somewhere around there is what we're aiming for. But it's a giant old 1800s church. She's gonna happen when she wants to on her timeline. So
love
we'll
that.
see.
Uh,
Yeah.
Great. Audrey, thank you. And as it gets closer to the opening, you might want to come to the general community board meeting and share this because I think it's really interesting and everybody should know.
Exactly. Yeah.
Great. All right. I saw that Susan has a question.
Good evening. Thank you so much. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
I can hear you fine.
Fantastic. Number one, thank you for this presentation. It sounds extraordinary in 2026 to have a space that's available in New York City. I have a few
Mhm.
questions. I'll try to keep it succinct. First, how would you like people to contact you, the organization? Because with a space like this, it's so extraordinary, it could be overwhelming, right? So what's the best way to
Mhm.
contact you to, you know, what's the best way to
I'll
contact you?
I'll put my email. That's much more direct than general info email. So yeah, email me directly and say, hey, I was on the committee meeting, would love to talk more. But we haven't launched our larger initiative yet. This is sort of one of the first parts of that. So if you email me now, I'll definitely get it and we can follow up.
Is this the time that you would like us to share the information far and wide, or are you just getting feelers on how the space could be developed?
Just getting feelers on how we could be developed. I would say that the for next month to 2 months is really about getting community stakeholders back into the door, because again, it's been a while since we had that outreach initiative. Get people back in the doors, finalize sort of the programming and the offering that we're going to open with, and then we'll sort of have this broader public launch. But we are open to partner org conversations, so organizations that want to be an anchor partner, either by having a private space and like a consistent presence, or by being one of the organizations that consistently offers regular programming. So we have a couple of organizations that we're already in talks with about them taking every Tuesday to do, theater workshops or the financial literacy classes that happen every Wednesday. So partners like that, we can definitely you can definitely, if you know of anyone who you want to bring in, we can definitely have
They
those
could start planning,
conversations now. Yeah.
certainly.
But the broader, like all in public thing, yeah, probably in spring.
Considering it hasn't opened yet, are there any grants attached to this organization that you're looking to partner with other people for? Like you have a grant for a dance company, you have a grant. Has that been worked out yet? Sometimes that happens with spaces that
Yeah.
are here in New York.
Not yet. I think that is a huge
Mhm.
opportunity, and we would love to, especially once we're stabilized after the first couple of months, like get everyone moved in, get the core programs running, to start having coordination, not only just between our center and each individual organization, but between all the organizations as well. I've heard there's a lot of
Right,
opportunity for co-applying and saying, hey, we're kind of doing all these targets. We're hitting theater, we're
right.
hitting performing arts, we're hitting visual. I think that would be a huge opportunity, definitely later on, maybe this year or early next.
Understood. And my last question is this. Many times, Chishama has a program where they provide spaces to
Hmm.
artists or people who are performers or people who are organizing. Many times, um, an organization will work with something like a decommissioned church, but unfortunately, they don't know that the church actually having struggles as far as real estate negotiations, that kind of thing. Is there a time
Yeah.
frame on how long this organization is going to be here? Is there a waiting period? Sadly, with New York, it's been happening a lot where you think you're going to be someplace 5 years and it was actually only a 3 year stint or whatever. Is there a time frame that you know of?
Or I think right now the time frame that we have assurances on is 5 years.
Okay. You see what I mean?
But
Yeah,
there,
it's good to know.
yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah,
We
sorry.
are No, it's okay. It's a problem that actually we've been working closely with the developer to try and solve and say, hey,
Yeah,
we really can't.
yeah,
We've been working very closely with him from the very beginning, so our relationship with
okay.
him is a little more ingrained than a typical just tenant.
Yeah,
And yeah, it's the main thing that we want to get to at the end of 5 years, especially if there is some transference, is to transfer into the community's hand. That's kind of like a long-term goal. We're not exactly
yeah,
sure how that pathway is going to be forged yet, but the end all be all, I'd say, mission and the greatest achievement, or one of the greatest achievements of this project, would be finding a way to fundraise through grants, like you're saying, other philanthropic
yeah,
funds that can help put at least a portion of the property in the community's hands, and that means it's sort of long-standing and preserved. That's a big problem that we're thinking about actively
Yeah,
all the
your
time. And if you have
progress.
thoughts on that, yeah, if anyone has thoughts on that and wants to help or has pathways, I know some local organizations are really looking at CLTs and things of that nature. We would love to talk about that because that's what we're looking at right now.
I
Great.
appreciate your transparency. This sounds extraordinary, and looking forward to the spring. Please let us all know when the festivities will be, that even you cut the ribbon on things starting. It'll be wonderful to be at.
Yeah, it's going to be very fun. And in the meantime, we will have these smaller incubation sessions and meetings. So you can come sit in the nave. For anyone's interested, come sit in the nave with us, talk openly about what the community's facing, how we can update what we've already designed, and yeah, open this space so that it's really relevant and supportive and resourceful together.
Congratulations.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Susan. Great. All right, Sean.
Thanks. Yeah, we'll encourage board members and community members through the report out at the full board meeting to take advantage of the tours now. Hope we can look forward to seeing you at the youth conference. And we've talked about the nonprofit roundtable that we hold in the spring. I think it would be a really mutually beneficial thing to have you there. I think our community-based organizations would love to meet you and hear about space opportunities and
Yeah.
another way to network into them. And then too, Audrey, this isn't your first rodeo. Like you have if you just want to mention the location of the other space where you've done something similar to this, just so people know.
Yeah.
I think that would be useful information too. Thanks.
Yeah. So we started in 2020, and we took over 2 other historical properties prior to the church. There was one in Fort Greene. It was a brownstone, and then a 20-bedroom mansion in Clinton Hill. Those projects were more on the side of uh, co-living. We were trying to make kind of a space for the arts and social impact and community development that also focused on, I can't say affordable housing because that's a very specific term, but it's under market rate housing for those that are contributing to the cultural diversity of the city and also trying to solve quality of life issues. So those are the first 2 projects we did, and then that moved into this larger, huge development of this massive church in 2022, a path that we did not foresee, but we are very grateful for. Meaning that we have experience of organizing locally, running spaces, bringing artists, creatives, community members together to collaboratively develop projects that benefit their community at large through these previous other 2 projects that we did.
Yeah. Well, we're glad you jumped on this opportunity.
Yeah, I'm very grateful for it. And it seemed like everyone wanted it. I think the idea that becoming condos was just so heartbreaking, and I'm very glad that it was preserved and we were able to actually convert it into something um, useful or yeah, useful and growth oriented.
Aaliyah put a couple specific questions in the chat, and if you can answer them now, great.
Sure.
And if not, I'm sure in the future will work. But are there membership fees, and do you have a sense of what that structure will be like, and the regular programming?
Yeah.
Answer. Yeah.
We have a sense. I would say all of that will be confirmed by the spring, by the second quarter. There are going to be public programs. So I think any of the nonprofits that are already offering programming and are using the space to offer that programming, that will just be open for the most part. There might be particular programs that are maybe accessed through a membership. That's something that I think we have to develop once we have the cohort of our initial partners and programming in place. There's a section of the church that will be explicitly public. So during open hours, thinking around 9 to 6 p.m., those will be open. Any member of the community or anyone can walk in and go to those sections of the church. There will be private areas like the artist studios, which will have a fee related to it. And then possibly the nave might be like a members area if there are individuals who are like, I want access to a private space to work or to read or to study, and that's sort of what the membership fee gives you access to these particular parts of the grounds. But one of our biggest pillars in our mission as an organization always is accessibility and flexibility, and we always try and give a tiered approach so that there's programs that everyone can engage in, and that's always providing those services. And then anyone who wants sort of the additional add-ons like access to special space or resources or amenities that are sort of more particular to their types of work, then there's some kind of membership fee structure. But again, accessibility is number one at the forefront of what we develop. So those fees will not be, they will not be like a normal co-working space. I can say that. But we do also have rent. So we
Sure.
have to pay rent. Anyway, but we're balancing all these things just so you're aware, and that will be confirmed hopefully by the second quarter.
Excellent. Great. Well, Audrey, thank you so much. It's a pleasure to hear this, and please, obviously, you'll keep in touch and keep visiting and
Yeah.
keeping us updated. We appreciate it.
Yeah, and everyone come by. We're there on Fridays. Come see it. It's a beautiful place to just be in and walk around. I mean, it's an incredible piece of architecture, and even though it's empty and there's not much going on yet, it still has this beautiful energy to it. And I'd love to hear from all of you if you want to join for any brainstorming sessions or feedback or anything of the like.
Excellent. Great. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Talking to you. Great. All right. Lauren, good to see you as always. Welcome back to the committee. You're going to tell us a little bit about Shine a Light in Flatbush?
Yes, thank
Excellent.
you so much.
Take it
Thank
away.
you. Thanks. I'm Lauren Collins. I'm the Executive Director of the Church Flatbush Community Alliance, which used to be the Church Avenue Bid and Flatbush Avenue Bid. We're a business improvement district, so we help the businesses on a certain section of Church and Flatbush Avenue, kind of on both sides of the intersection of the two. We don't charge anything. We're paid through taxes, so we're just constantly trying to do events and help people, help the businesses, clean the streets, all that good stuff. I'm joined by Crit and Masha from Queens Lighting Collective. We have a very short presentation because I know we don't have a lot of time, but if they could just quickly introduce themselves, then we'll jump right in.
Sure. Hi, I'm Masha. I am one portion of Queens Lighting Collective. We're a group of quasi-theater designers mostly that shifted somewhat into urban design and public realm art making a few years ago, and now we do both. We are, as you may have guessed, based in Queens, but love Brooklyn too. And so we are working on this project with CFCA through a public realm grant from Small Business Services. And we've done a number of projects so far, usually involving lighting, but not always, but always kind of prioritizing community involvement and making together within the neighborhood that we're building in.
Great. And I'm Kurt Robinson. I'm the other half of Queens Lighting Collective. And there's some other folks who are often common collaborators with us who couldn't be here today, but they're amazing and have always been a great part of the group. I'm going to pitch it back to Lauren.
Thanks. Okay, so we have this grant that Masha mentioned called Public Realm Grant. It's from Small Business Services. It is for public lighting, public art, but the very cool thing about it is the entire project has to come out of what the community wants to see. So we've been having pop-ups. If you could actually start the presentation, we've been having pop-up events outside the subway, outside Flatbush Caton Market. We did one at Checkers. I think someone from the Checkers call is actually in this audience right now, if I remember correctly, and other design pop-ups to just get feedback, not about specifics about the technical stuff, but like, what do people love about Flatbush? And then that will guide what the art, how the art looks at the end. So if we can move ahead. Great. This is the timeline. Where we are right now is in between the community engagement part, although we still have something very exciting coming up on February 11th. And starting to talk about permits, we've been meeting with the MTA and DOT, Department of Transportation, as well as a large local nonprofit to just look at different ideas to really make this manifest in a way that will celebrate Flatbush. Some of the things we've done, I've mentioned, we met with merchants, we went door to door, we did some activity days, and each of these pop-ups has things like draw pictures. We have these really cool black and white old photos of the subway station from way back, and we had a whole bunch of crayons and said, just draw what you want to see on this. You know, if the subway was prettier. And I think you all pretty much know what the subway looks like now. Some of the things that came out, people talked a lot about connection, about this station really being the Times Square of Flatbush. Everything is in Flatbush. You can just get anything you want here. A lot of people emphasize the need for cleanliness and safety, and also more connection to the park, which is only a few blocks away, but people really wanted to see more greenery. So we came up with some preliminary designs, and oh, this is just some of the pop-ups that we did. Here's our lovely station that we do love very much. The first idea is called East 18th Street Sugarcane Parade. So, and Masha and Crit can answer questions if you have a technical question. I am not the technical person. But what this is some soft lighting, those weaving sugarcane, artsy sugarcane things would be actually attached to the side of the station. This is the East 18th Street side of the main station house on Church and East 18th. They would replicate what sugarcane looks like, because a lot of people mention things like that. And then the tiles that you see, the pattern would be made out of like vinyl reproductions of photos that people would hopefully let us make copies of, from scrapbooks, from the pictures in their wall, showing their family that moved here, old pictures of Flatbush. People seem very interested in talking about their family and their connection to the neighborhood. And then they would be colored in a way that it would make this nice pattern. It could also have an audio component that would have people talking about Flatbush. Sorry to jump back to that, but that's kind of an interesting side thing. And this all also depends on how much we can get out of the money that's been allocated for the grant. So the next one would be, this is Kew Gardens, Community Garden. This is the side of it. They just put a new gate up, and it would kind of wind down further towards Caden on East 18th Street. And again, all these designs are preliminary. This is between Checkers and the new ADA accessible station on East 18th, that very long corrugated metal wall that was actually there before, but now it's a new one, but it looks kind of the same way the old one did. So this would be another option to have it kind of help people have a nice little walkway as they go from the station to and from the station and Church Avenue. Another idea, we met with Canva a few times to talk about doing something on their windows that would be translucent. So this, if you take that train and all, this is what you see without the color when you first exit the Church Avenue BQ station. This is that big building, and it would be really cool if people had something bright and colorful and beautiful when they came out. And then the last components are several 2 to 3 freestanding pieces that kind of reflect what the station, the whole piece on the side of the station. The base would have more of the photos. It would be solar powered, probably, because we don't really have a light source. This is a rendering of the traffic median on Ocean Ave, which is just kind of there. It has 2 trees currently. It's not really taken care of. And this would be something, all of this stuff would be kind of interesting, because during the day you would see the photos, and then at night you would see the lights. So that is where we are. The next event for the community pop-up is going to be on February 11th from 2 p.m. to 5 p.m. We are taking over the front lobby area of Bobby's at 1628 Church Avenue. We're going to have fun activities for people. We're going to have a raffle. We have 2 huge baskets overflowing with very cool Bobby stuff that 2 people will win. But as important is hearing from people who were there shopping, who hopefully can come by and give us feedback on what they love about Flatbush and ideas, and look at the renderings. And I'm not sure, we're trying to come up with some kind of cool extra activities for that day. So thank you. That's the real short version. And we may need support from the committee or for the board as we go through this permitting, which is really where we are now. We may sometimes need letters of support that really helps us push this along. So thank you so much, and thanks for giving us an opportunity to present.
Absolutely. Thank you 3. The renderings look great. That's exciting. It'll really enhance the walks to and from the train. Right. Any questions for Masha or Kurt or Lauren? Okay. It was a very direct, thorough, and beautiful presentation.
Thank you,
Susan.
Mhm.
I have a quick question. Sorry, I'm not up on the screen. It's quick. Hello, yay. I came to one of their presentations. I have
Yes.
to say it was wonderful, informative, and thorough, and I'm excited. I'm right around the corner from that train station. How can more people get information to you as far as their ideas? I'm in the buildings that are right next to the train station, know a number of the business owners. Is there an email that we can use, or what's the best way to contact you all to continue to give ideas to you in case you don't see folks because they're working, whatever?
Sure. I can give you our general email address, which will definitely work. It's info, INFO, at churchflatbush, all one word, .org.
Beautiful. I'll collect a few of those and just start sending them
fantastic.
out if that's okay. Yeah, because I'm always seeing people, but they may not be in that direction. But it's wonderful for folks to know what's going on, right?
Absolutely. And Sue, I may follow up with you separately. I think we have an idea to see if you want to.
Oh,
Just a
marvelous.
little
Oh, that
boost
sounds
on some.
wonderful. Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you
thanks.
for presenting today. It's a really interesting project, especially to include electrical art. It's very interesting. It kind of matches with the renovation that was done with the subway, just bringing an uplift and
Right.
bringing it into the future. It's nice.
Thank you. Thanks.
And we dropped both the email address that Lauren mentioned and the Queens Lighting Collective email in the chat for reference as well.
Excellent. Thank you. All right. Great. Well, thank you to all of our presenters. Fantastic stuff, as always, happening in the community. Other business? No? Got to the end and then we covered it, huh? All right. Well, thank you, everybody. It was a pleasure to be with you. All of the presentations will be on the CB14 website soon. We'll report this out in the big community board meeting and lots of follow-up, really exciting stuff. So thank you, everybody. Keep doing what you're doing, and we'll see you real soon.
Thank you all.
Thank
Have a
thank
good
you.
night.
Good night, everybody.
Have a
Thank
great
you.
one.
Sorry for
Great
Night.
meeting.
jumping in
Good
late, but
everyone.
this
Have a
was
good night. Stay
great.
warm.
Yes.
Thanks, everybody. Stay
Take
safe
warm.
and warm.
Everybody, take care.